There's been some interesting stuff going on that are similar to what you're talking about. So, Joe Rogan, who's, do I have to explain who Joe Rogan is?
No, you don't.
Really. Okay. So Joe, he, had these doctors on to talk about COVID, and these are doctors that have a non-mainstream media view about COVID. And he just released a statement yesterday because now we have some of these old rock and roll people telling Spotify, if you don't pull Joe Rogan off, then we don't want our music off, and that's a legitimate thing. So it's like, okay. So Rogan came out. He released like a 9-minute podcast last night. I happened to be driving, and when it came out, so I listened to it. And so this is what's interesting. I forget the examples that he gave, but one of them was 6 months ago or a year ago or whatever, if you said cloth masks don't do anything, you would be literally banned, and there's documented people that were banned from social media for saying that. And now it turns out it's actually true. And for example, CNN has been widely reporting that. There's a whole list of things like that. Here's the another example is, if you were to say 6 months ago or a year ago, once you're vaccinated, you can't catch COVID and you can't spread COVID. And if you would have said that, there's people that were banned from social media for saying those things. And now you look up and those things are actually true. They're factually true. That's right. What's happening. And you get this with the election results that you're talking about in 2020. When people said, hey, I'm not sure about this election.
Right.
Some people weren't necessarily saying, there was a very few politicians that were saying, hey, not so sure about this. Maybe we should hold off. Maybe we should check the results. There was social media personalities that were saying that, and they got completely shut down.
Right.
Not for saying, hey, I think we should overthrow the government, but for saying, hey, don't you think we should confirm this? Because I agree with you that, to me, the worst outcome for an American election is people look at it and go, I don't believe it.
Right.
Even if it's never mind half the population, I don't want 10% of the population to think, hey, I don't believe this is true. I think that the election results were wrong. I think there was foul play, all those things. What I want to do is, if 10% of the people say, or 1% of the people say, hey, we think that there was foul play in the elections, I want to say, okay, well, let's get everything out on the table. A good analogy would be if you're playing a football game.
Yeah.
And we think a team got a touchdown, and the other team says, yeah, that wasn't a touchdown. You don't say, well, shut up, it was, because now we all leave and we don't really think they won, and we argue about it, we fight about it, and it's a bad thing. Instead, what do we do? What do we do nowadays when there's that problem? We solve the problem by going, oh, you don't think it was a touchdown? Cool. We're going to go to the videotape.
Right.
We're going to lay everything out on the table, and then everyone can see, oh yeah, crossed the plane, it was a touchdown, or didn't cross the plane, that's it. We can solve the argument so that we actually get the truth out there. And it seems like with this election, instead of saying, hey, here's what happened in these situations, here's these anomalies that took place, here's why they took place, here's the impact that they actually had, here's some characters that did some things that they shouldn't have done, here's some accusations were made that were totally false.
Right.
But to just say, oh, if you don't think that election was perfect,
right, then
you should be silenced. And the reason I bring up the masks and the vaccines is because right now it seems like there are some people that are gathering evidence about the election that might not necessarily turn the election over, but they might at least say, hey, this is something that happened. No one agrees that this should happen. No one agrees that someone should be stuffing ballot boxes, right? No one thinks you should be stuffing ballot boxes.
Right.
So if ballot boxes are getting stuffed, what can we do to prevent that? And to me, I can't imagine an American that's aligned with America, like with just the broad idea of America, where we have freedom of speech, we have the right to bear arms, we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I can't imagine someone saying, you know what? I actually think stuffing ballot boxes is okay. I actually think these changing these election laws I think that's fine as long as it's done for the right party. That to me doesn't make sense.
Right.
So I think when you start talking about the thing that kind of pushed you over the edge, I think there's a lot of people that felt that way.